Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. We are a couple days out from training camp, so we really don't have any news to talk about. So we're going to create our own. Olympics starts at the same time as training camp. Before I get into that, with me again, introducing everyone here, Trevor Land, Luke Reimer, and Janet Wilson, and her dog is also making an appearance.
Pumba.
Looking like he has as much energy as I do right now, which is good. Thank you, Luke, for clarifying which one is the dog. That helps us. We're all visual learners.
It looks like a stuffed animal, though.
It doesn't look real. If you want to watch live on Wednesday evenings, go to the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. Go to Lombardi Sweep on Facebook or at Fantasy Flurry on Twitter. Otherwise, listening right now, if you're listening to your podcast on Thursdays, this drops. We will start to have more relevant news, but like I said, today we're doing a mismatch of Packers and Olympics, and we're going to discuss which events in the Olympics various Packers should participate in, which ones they would destroy in. Of course, there's some good ones, I think, and we haven't discussed or brainstormed together, so I'm interested to see what you guys have come up with, and I don't know what the best way to do this is. All I will say is I'm going to assume Trevor has something good to start us off with, and maybe we'll go clockwise from there. That work?
By something good, are you talking about like an intro? Do you need me to rant or just start? Because I can do either.
Just start.
Okay. Well, there is a sport here that I don't think is ever televised. Nobody watches. Nobody really pays attention. But the best artist of our generation, Bruce Springsteen's daughter, is in it, equestrian. And I was thinking, now, what could possibly be more majestic than defensive tackle Kenny Clark riding a horse? Now, not only, I'm not talking about just through the cones, I want the tiptoeing too. I think that would be a match made in heaven. I think he could do a good job. I think he could win like solid bronze.
See, that's interesting because I also had a D tackle for equestrian, except for I went with the rookie TJ Slayton. And it's because TJ Slayton's not in the best shape. TJ Slayton has trouble breathing. And I want him to be in the Olympics, but I want him to do as little movement as possible. So I thought, let's put him on a pony. So that's who I have for equestrian for me.
The only problem with that, Zach, is the higher you are up in the air, it's harder to breathe. So I'm wondering if that makes a difference.
That is a very good point. I did not think about that. That's good.
You know how big of a horse
maybe it will be a
get?
pony then. Low.
Maybe the horse will ride him.
Maybe.
I was about to say I have AJ Dillon in that category, but he's the horse because of his massive legs.
That would also be good. Let's just build off of each other. Does anybody else have something for AJ Dillon? No?
Oh, shit.
Okay, I'll go because I have one for AJ Dillon, and I also referenced his large legs. Obviously, that's the only thing interesting about the guy. So he has the thighs of a gymnast, right? Like there's no mistaking. He basically looks like he's Simone Biles out there. However, I've seen him trying to do a Lambeau leap, and he needed help. So I don't want him like near vault or anything like that. But he's a performer. I've seen his TikToks. So I think we need to get him doing a floor routine. I think that's probably the best category for him. Maybe throw him a watermelon. He can break with his thighs out there. Impress all the Japanese people. What's your thoughts on that?
I think we have a very poor understanding of what exactly occurs in the floor routine. However, I would argue that is a change that needs to happen. I mean, look, we all know Simone Biles is going to win, right? Like flipping through the air, doing it, unless she like breaks a leg, heaven forbid. What we don't think we're going to see is a man squashing a watermelon with his thighs. And that is something that I will tune in to see. And therefore, I think that's a great pick.
So while I agree with you guys, that's a great pick. I just thought of another one for AJ Dillon that I think would work with his very strong legs. Would be cycling, because in order to cycle very far distances at a very quick time, you need strong thighs, strong legs, strong butt, and that seems right up AJ Dillon's alley.
I mean, there's probably footage of him on a bike, considering he's a Packer, so I should know this. I feel like his legs would be too close together, and like there would be a chafing incident possibly at the Olympics, which no one wants to see.
And on top of that, you can't film TikToks while riding a bike, right? He's going to be on his phone. He's going to try to do something. He's going to hit a tree, and I don't think that's a good look either.
I feel bad for that tree.
So he's known for not being able to be brought down. I say, what about wrestling?
Maybe put someone's head between his thighs and just burst it.
See, I would disagree. You know, there are some sports where you just need to intimidate your opponent, right? And there are very few sports where a guy like him could intimidate Olympians. But there's one where he definitely could, and that is badminton. If you see the other side of the court, you are running in the opposite direction. He could probably drive whatever the thing is called, shuttlecock, right?
Yep.
He could drive that through two people's heads simultaneously. And so I think via forfeit, he wins gold, and I think that would be a good event to see.
Similar to the sport that he plays now, football, I believe that rugby is a sport this year as well that I wouldn't want to go against AJ Dillon in.
No. Yeah, I just want America to do something in rugby. I would love to see NFL players in rugby.
You know, speaking of America, do something. You know, if you don't listen to the Flurry Sports podcast with Zach and Jake on Sundays. There's been something that's constantly come up about the Americans doing nothing. That is 3-on-3 basketball. We have Robbie Hummel. Yeah. And honestly, I think Zach Bruner was the alternate. I can't be sure, but I think he was.
I'm letting people know I have 2 good ACLs. I can score more than Robbie Hummel. I can promise you.
Now, let me tell you something. Robbie Hummel isn't good, but you know who's been posting a lot of good videos this offseason? Yelling on dudes at the YMCA? Devin Funchess. And if we're going to throw out a guy with no ACL, you might as well put out a guy who is jacked, has 2 knees, can jump, and gets height. And that is somebody that America can stand behind, not an analyst who played like 40 years ago.
So if you guys are constructing your 3-on-3 team for Packers, who's in it?
I have that exactly, including Devin Funchess in it. So the second one for me was a no-brainer. I just think Davante Adams needs to be on there. Footwork, and I know he's a good basketball player. The third one, I knew I wanted a wide receiver, and I wasn't 100% sure who I wanted to do. I went with Alan Lazard. I think I know he was a pretty good high school basketball player, and I think he's way more athletic overall than the other wide receivers. Like, I know Valdez-Scantling is fast, but that's about it. And then EQ can barely stand up straight without hurting something. So I think he's obvious choice for me.
I would go Funchess, obviously. He's the captain, right? Davante Adams, that's also a no-brainer. 3-on-3 basketball, though, you need good defense, right? Because you can't do help defense. You can't get away with that in 5v5. So a guy that I can see actually being a dog on defense in that as well is Alexander, a guy that will just lock you down. Offensively, probably brings you nothing, but that's what Davante Adams and Devin Funchess are for.
See, I was thinking,
I view Alexander as like a Patrick Beverly. Like, he's not going to score a single point.
But 3-on-3, hey, if you hurt one of the other players, guess what? They got nobody left. So that's a win.
I was thinking someone that you kind of need some paint defense in 3-on-3 because it's easy to blow by, like you said, Trevor. Not a lot of help. So I'm thinking of like a big, kind of athletic defensive lineman, maybe kind of going back to Kenny Clark a little bit. You could just have TJ Slayton just stand in there and clog up the paint. because we're only playing half court, so he's not running very far. So,
Or hey, Elton Jenkins, he can play every position on the offensive line. I'm sure he can play multiple positions in 3-on-3 basketball. And Elton Jenkins at point guard is, I think, something that Americans need to see.
Maybe. I think Mercedes Lewis could probably move
yeah,
on the basketball court pretty good too. And he's like, every time I see him, I feel like he's listed 2 inches taller than the last time I saw him. So he's probably like 6'9" at this point. He doesn't really need to move; just put his hands up.
he can't really move any slower than Brooke Lopez. So,
Yeah. He proved that you don't need footwork to win an NBA championship.
Right. So kind of going back to you guys were talking about gymnastics there for a little bit. I'm thinking the balance beam. I'm thinking J.K. Scott for the balance beam.
I actually have J.K. Scott for rhythmic gymnastics because he like points his toes. He can use that little ribbon and like spin it around.
I think for Scott, we've talked multiple times. This guy is a maestro, if nothing else, at avoiding contact. We're not going to throw him in judo. We're not going to throw him in karate because he can't strike. But you know where he doesn't need to strike people? Fencing. And he's got a face mask, whatever, just like in football, right? He can be a quick in and out. I feel like that's him. Nobody can juke you on that narrow plane. So I think it's got to be J.K. Scott. And we know his balance, like Luke said, you need that balance. Hey, who more than J.K. Scott?
For the people who listen to the Monday show that Trevor was talking about a little bit ago, we talked about some NFL players being in events and stuff like that. And for my fencing pick, I picked Tom Brady since he looks like he fences on weekends already anyways. He's just kind of a douchebag, if you haven't noticed by now. For the Packers, just thinking about who looks like a douchebag, I think our GM, Brian Gutekunst, is my fencing pick. I think LaFleur is probably his best fencing partner. He also looks like he fences on weekends. So when talking about fencing, I could see them doing that already. Like that's the way they start off training camp, basically. Then for J.K. Scott, this is one I also talked about on Monday. For me, his most famous thing is when he punts, he's straight up and down. It doesn't go anywhere, but he has good form in a way. So I have him doing that same type of thing, but for diving. Like he's
that's a good one.
Yeah, I was actually about to say that. And then he had like least contact to the water, and that's perfect for him.
Mm-hmm. He's built like a 9-year-old boy, so he's zero splash. Like those Chinese teens have nothing on us at this point.
I like it. I mean, I think I weighed more than him when I was 5 years old, so I don't see him making a huge splash or anything.
No. Just like he hasn't made a splash in the NFL.
Right. So the easiest one for me to make the connection with was for the new event, the golf. And I think that's got to be our guy, Aaron Rodgers, from all his celebrity matches, just won the match. The guy's not a bad golfer. He's not great by any means, but I think he's the one who stands the best chance as a Packer player playing golf.
For
100%.
me, Aaron Rodgers is the best golfer. He does not, in my opinion, encapsulate what golf is. And what golf is just cigar smoking, beer drinking kind of guy. And what that entails is Blake Bortles. Ripping cigs, just having a good time. A guy who doesn't care too much about speaking eloquently, about grit or anything. Just a guy that goes out there, has fun. Actually, he doesn't even care. That is Blake Bortles, and that is golf.
I bet that he would have the biggest slice in golf history.
I have Aaron Rodgers for sailing since he likes to disappear on us, and we don't know where he is. He doesn't like to use his phone at all, except after the Bucks game.
Aaron Rodgers, however, I can see him doing surfing. Look, he's got a house out in Malibu, right? He's all about Zen. That just adds up to surfing. And I feel like you put him out there. I feel like he's a guy that probably goes surfing with his dog if he had one. He's on the back, dog's on the front, and he just appears. You
His
don't see him go
future
out in the water. You don't
his
see him come back, but he's
his
just out there.
future wife has a dog that apparently he's really close to.
All the more. Add a dog, get extra points. Aaron Rodgers, hey, he's got the hair, he's got the look, he's got the no care attitude. That's a win for me.
The new sunglasses.
Going back to Blake Bortles, for me, like I get golf, that's fine. He's sort of the anti Bryson DeChambeau in the way he described him, which I appreciate. For me, I don't think you're using his talents to the fullest potential. Of course, he could probably enter any event and win gold. That's just the kind of guy he is. For me, since we don't have MMA in the Olympics, the closest thing we can do to sending this absolute killer, the specimen of a human out there to just beat the piss out of every other country is boxing. So I want Bortles going in there, ripping the gloves off, just swinging, just knocking out France, knocking out Kenya. It doesn't matter. Whoever comes in the ring, Blake Bortles is just going to be like a last man standing, just wiping them out. That's my pick for Bortles. And honestly, though, I would love to see him sail as well. Maybe him and Rodgers can sail together. That could be great.
They could be rowers.
What else do you got, Luke?
The trampoline gymnastics one, I had a tough time. I don't know if you guys had anything for that, but I think I landed on maybe not the best, but someone who would be kind of funny to see do it, and that would be Kurt Benkert. Watching that hair flop up and down, I think that'd be funny as hell.
I actually had him for skateboarding since he's always skateboarding on Instagram. So I had him for skateboarding.
I'm trying to think of who the meanest guy on the team is. I feel like Elton Jenkins could be good for trampoline, just because you can't jump on a trampoline and not smile. And
Right.
I also just want to see him smile. I want to see him have a good time.
I see David Bakhtiari, and I think his special trick is he does a backflip while chugging a beer. And I think, and that hair too, halfway through takes it out the bun. Hey, we got something to watch for sure.
I've never watched trampoline gymnastics. How do they
Pretty
judge
cool.
it?
I don't know.
Basically like on diving, how tight the form is, any
Oh.
slips, how many flips and stuff you complete and all that.
Do they
Who
ever
had the
double
most
bounce
fun?
people? See how high they can get?
That should be an event.
I don't
For-
think so.
David Bakhtiari, what about shooting? When he was in Texas, he went to the shooting range. And he loved it.
Good work.
I think that's one of the offensive linemen, like Billy Turner.
Yeah.
If you have a name like Billy, you're automatically good at shooting. Billy Turner is just a name. And that's a guy where if you see him in the list, you're like, okay, yeah, I know who's winning gold, who's second.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, Trevor, but I want some explanation on why Billies are good shooters.
It's just one of those names, right? Like Keith is a bland white guy. It's kind of like that.
He's not.
It just matches. How guys like Aaron are usually super cocky if they're guys. It just fits. It's there.
I guess so, yeah.
You
You sold me.
Davids are kind of like problem childs or too smart. It's either or. Just if the name is there, the destiny is chosen.
To your point, I mean, he went to NDSU and the field's like in the middle of the woods. So every once in a while, there's a stray deer that runs behind the 40. Probably had to take it out,
And speaking of, destiny, there's a silver-haired fox that I can just see him coming out of nowhere and killing people in a certain sport. You might think of all the big-time sports, tennis. Let's be honest. Anybody can play tennis, okay? Real men, real smart men and women, they play table tennis. And I see Mason Crosby obliterating the competition in that. Like you said, Zach, a couple episodes before, Mason Crosby just has some dad strength. And so he is going to be smashing it 24/7.
That's a good point. I limited Crosby just because I didn't want to see him hurt. So I'm like, what can he do that's like in his range? I have him speed walking. Like, go out there, Mason. Just don't get hurt. We need you. Just don't roll an ankle because at your age, that's a few weeks to come back from. So I just want him safe. But to your point, I think he probably could be good at that.
Speed walking with the 2 5-pound weights in his hands.
Yeah, a sweatband, wristbands, full thing, full get up.
I had him like total opposite. I had him doing like full on marathons. Because I'm like, okay, he's an older guy. He's patient. He has good legs, so I'm pretty sure he can, throw himself 26.2 miles right there.
True. It's true. For my table tennis, I went with Devonte Adams. Just because, the hands, like it's not, I don't have anything funny for it. I just feel like I feel like receivers are always demolishing people at ping pong, like, from my experience, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, too, it's always the people you least expect to be good at table tennis that are, like, incredible at table tennis. So I was thinking someone, what's the guard, Lucas Patrick, like that, something like that, where a little nimble on his feet at guard there. He can get around and get, wide stance, get the arms going, and I think he could deliver some punches in table tennis.
Now, it is not a sport in the Olympics, but it kind of adds in because he shouldn't be on the team, so it kind of works out well. Sumo wrestling, it's all about balance and getting your opponent off balance. Nothing gets your opponent more off balance than thinking somebody's going to be there and they're not. In basketball, pulling the chair from them in the post. So who's going to do that for the Packers? Royce Newman. He can't hit anything. They're going to be coming at him, and he's going to miss, and they're going to run right out that ring, and he's going to win by default.
Best way to win.
That works. A little sad when he's started it with shouldn't be on the team, and I had like 10 names that came to mind, and that wasn't one of them. There's too many names right now. I thought you were going to say Jay Sternberger, but fair enough. Janet, what else do you got?
I actually have like all the sports here. I have them on my computer. We haven't said anything about archery. Did you guys say badminton? I don't know. I like dropped out for a little bit, so I didn't get to hear if you guys said badminton.
I read somebody for badminton.
Oh, we still have like the BMXing. Who could we get to BMX?
Clearly, it has to be Ty Summers.
I would actually see Ty Summers in gymnastics. I don't know why. I see him like doing gymnastics. He just looks like one of those white boys that does gymnastics.
I'm not going to argue with you. Like, okay. I trust your expertise on this. For another one for Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he'd be good as a rower, but I think he'd be good to call out row. Whoever the guy who's trying to get the cadence going. Aaron Rodgers can drop people off sides with his voice. He can elicit a negative response from the defense with his voice. I think he should use his voice for good. And that's just getting the boys to row. I think Aaron Rodgers needs to get the Packers to row. Let's use PJ Flex row the boat thing this season as well. Like, let's get out on,
I like that.
You know who I think would have been good at that, getting everyone all hyped up to row, is Jamal Williams.
Yeah, for sure. Actually,
you get that
for the floor routine too.
Yeah.
Jamal Williams, though, he just seems like one of those kids that nobody let outside enough. And so he has way too much energy. Yeah. And for that reason, I'm going triathlon. Like, he's one of those kids that the parents let him out and he accidentally runs a 5K and wins. That is Jamal Williams. And so I think his parents, against his will, he does not know. He shows up and they say, you're in the triathlon. And he just goes, okay, with a big smile. And while he's swimming, he imagines he's a mermaid. While he's biking, he probably imagines he's Lance Armstrong. But we know his fascination with mermaids. He's going to be a monster in the water. and he's going to run and giggle the whole time, automatic gold.
To that point, we should just put him in a triathlon too. Just let him, he'll just sprint the whole thing. Like just do everything as fast as possible. New records.
That's what I'm saying. You get like one Red Bull in him and it's game over.
True.
And there's one sport that it really takes a physical specimen. Some of these, judo, karate, it's more technique, right? Cycling, okay, you need big legs, but one that is all around sport climbing. And you need a guy who can show up when he's called upon, because it is a quick sport. A guy who is ready. And there is no guy that is ready and is gifted physically as Dominique Daphne. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns or just 1? Doesn't matter. When his name is called, he is ready, upper body, built like a Mack truck. He's going to destroy everybody.
Can't argue with that at all. I mean, I think you made a very good point for that. Going to beach volleyball, everyone's favorite sport here. So we got to get 2 people here. My first one was a no-brainer. I mean, it's a ball hawk. Someone who's going to dig it out of the sand. He's going to be there. That's Jair Alexander. No-brainer for me there. But then we need someone to control the net, someone who can play big. His nickname's already Big Diesel. I already had him on the 3-on-3 team earlier as an alternate. I need Mercedes Lewis controlling the net. No one wants to go up against him. And would you spike it on Mercedes Lewis? Not like, 1, he's intimidating. 2, he's such a good guy. Like, just let the guy fucking win something. That's how I feel with Mercedes Lewis.
The only qualm I have about that is you need a little chemistry in that. And I don't know how well they're going to play together, being on 2 different sides of the ball.
For me,
That's
Mercedes
true.
Lewis is such a gifted
Weapon.
person physically. Weapon. Yeah, he's versatile, right? He's one of those guys, he might not win gold, but he's the alternate in every single event. He's there, right? The guy that is good for one thing, and I know his knees probably don't ache as much, Robert Tunyon, he's good. And for the guy digging it, that's tough, but you kind of need a slender build, small guy, kind of an underdog, kind of a scrappy guy. And for that, I gotta go to our boy from San Jose State, Bailey Gaither. A guy who will just go for everything to prove. He's the guy at baseball practice that has to dive to get his jersey dirty, otherwise he didn't play. That's the guy who you need digging it out. And he's a team player. He'll set up Tunyon.
That is good. For Robert Tunyon, for me, he's all about Zen. He's all about meditating, just being one with his chi. I'm not sure if that's the correct term. This is what came out. So I have him doing Taekwondo. I feel like he probably already does it in his free time anyways.
I have him a total opposite. I had him doing hockey. I don't know. I just feel like he fits the mold for like wearing a hockey suit. And I can just see him like skating across the ice with his, like, he just has such a big frame. So I don't know. I had him under hockey, but maybe Taekwondo.
I kind of have Preston Smith under hockey a little bit. He just seems like the kind of enforcer role. Like, he can give you a little something offensively, but he just wants to go around popping heads. Him and Zadarius Smith as a defense. Don't matter who you put on offense because other team ain't scoring.
So going back to Blake Bortles for me for a minute, I had him as part of the water polo team, which is my favorite sport to watch other than basketball. Water polo is just an insane sport to watch. He seems like a good swimmer to me, even though he's ripping sigs, whatever. Doesn't have great lungs, but I'm sure he can give you a good 5 minutes of just hard swimming. And he's got a rocket arm. Yeah, he's got a rocket arm. Goalie's in the way. That ball's going right through his head into the goal.
One hand sig in it, lit sig during the match anyways. Just needs one hand anyway. So
right.
Maybe we can have Josiah DeGuara on archery since his legs are indisposed at the moment. You can just use his arms.
True. He can do it. He can be in like the Paralympics too. Might as well. Him and Funches.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a joke. Trevor, do you got anything else? I need to construct this joke here.
No, I want to see you try to force it.
Oh, I don't know what to do with it. I'm trying to find a sport that would fit this guy.
How about we play a game, and everybody that's listening can play along too. Here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be like I Spy, but not at all. You're gonna start listing
Perfect
him,
description.
and we're gonna see when we can guess who the guy is.
Okay, go for it. Nope.
Well, no, you
Next.
got to start describing him.
Oh.
It
How
was
can I
very simple.
describe? Okay. How can I describe someone who looks like someone you know but is never there? Someone who can never be found. Someone who maybe has got a lot of potential, but boy, he may be mistaken for a lot of people, at least in Green Bay at this point. We've been trying to get him on the show since the day he was drafted.
Shamar.
Shamar.
At first, I was
Shamar.
thinking Monty
Yeah.
Williams, but that's a different show.
Different show. So I'm trying to find someone who's a chameleon, someone a master of disguise, a sport that's a master of disguise for Shamar. But I don't know what that would be at this point. That's where maybe he's in oh shit, what's it called? The swimming, like the choreographed swimming. What's that called?
Oh, synchronized swimming.
choreograph. Yeah.
Synchronized swimming. He's like, it's like one of those things where there's so many people moving at once and you got to count the people, and all of a sudden it's like a Where's Waldo situation. They blend together. So he's just one of them, but they all look the same, and Luke has to guess which one's Shamar.
And they like wear the caps and everything, so you can't tell.
Yeah, they all look this. They all look the same.
See that's a good guess. I think it's a little different. Let's think outside the box here. Shamar, like you said, chameleon. Are we sure he's in Green Bay? Like, we haven't seen him, right? I feel like he slips in, slips out. You don't see him. So plot twist: he's not at the Summer Olympics. He's already training for the Winter Olympics, and he's in the bobsled team, and he's in the middle. He's not running it. He's not driving it. So, and you see him wearing past. You're like, is that? Huh. And you're constantly thinking if that was him. So while we're all looking for him in the summer games, nah, he's one step ahead. He's already, focused on Paris in 2020 or Beijing in 2022. He's a step ahead.
If Shamar was in this situation where I wouldn't be able to identify him, I think I would after a couple vodka Red Bulls like I did at the bar.
Again, Luke, that was not him. So you failed. You thought you did. And he fooled you.
He did. He duped me. He sent his clone out.
That's what it was.
It's
I'm still
hilarious.
imagining it was like Ben Kurt there. And you're like, you're Shamar.
I was about to say, it was definitely like a 5'7" white guy, and he just had 5 vodka Red Bulls.
Yeah. I don't know if I have anything else.
Oh, Trevor.
Oh, yeah. Go.
Back to the how all Billies are good shooters. The history in me came up with a good connection for you. Is Billy the Kid was a famous outlaw back way back when.
Oh,
Great
yeah.
shooter. That fits the bill there.
And, we'll just call him Billy the adult.
Right.
Big grown Billy the big baby. I don't know. You can pick his name. He's going to be a good shooter.
Nailed it.
No, I like Billy
Zach,
the adult.
Hey, Zach, I don't want to hear it, okay? I don't want to hear it. You messed up your own game, okay? You didn't understand your own game.
I did.
I described it perfectly. I don't know what you want from me.
I know it was really succinct, perfect. You should describe every Olympic event before it goes. Like you should have the telecast or whatever.
I'm like Bill Walton if he wasn't on acid. I think that's the best description.
Okay, I have a game for us, guys. That has to do with the Olympics.
Can Trevor describe the instructions, please?
If she tells me what the game is, I will describe it.
It's like I Spy, but not really.
Yeah.
That's true. It is like I Spy, but not really.
No, this one's fun. So we have to build our
Wow, flaming I Spy.
this
Take
one,
out my whole childhood.
we have to build our own bobsled team. So a driver who steers, 2 crewmen who help push, and a brakeman who pulls the brakes. So we need 4.
Where did we go to Winter Olympics?
You brought it up.
Somebody
You know
said
what?
bobsled. So I was like, hey, you know what would be cool if we built our own bobsled team?
You brought it up, Trevor.
You
I
did,
didn't. I
yeah.
didn't think we'd go to down the line of every Olympics ever. But hey, look, we're here. So we're just gonna go for it. The driver.
We need 1 driver.
The driver. You know what? This guy, he really isn't great at anything, right? You look at him, he's kind of slow. He can't really do anything super well. The intangibles aren't really there, but people love him, right? He's a fan favorite already, which is weird. And people love, comparing him to other people. And, you need comparisons in bobsled because what else are you going to talk about? How fast they go? So Amari Rogers is the driver simply because he can't do anything else. Love you, Amari. You're just, we look back at other shows if you're questioning. The middle guy, what does he do again?
Wait, you
He's the
need
brake
2.
guy?
No,
2 pushers.
2 pushers.
Okay.
Bakhtiari.
Okay, yeah, you gotta go Bakhtiari for sure. And then I'm going to go, you gotta have some unknown guys in there, And for that, I gotta go with the guy that's got a dad that was amazing, John Runyon. An unknown guy that's going to fill a prophecy, I guess. I don't know. My mic's falling apart, so I'm paying more attention.
Every bobsled team has somebody with an amazing dad, Trevor. I think
Yes.
that's right on point.
Hey, Jamaican bobsled team, I'm pretty sure one of their sons was Usain Bolt. Can't say for sure, but that's what I've heard.
And then you need a brake man, somebody who pulls the brakes.
Trevor, who do you got? You're building your team here. Wrap it up.
Pull the brakes. So somebody that can slow you down quick, really take you out of the speed of the game. A guy who makes a lot of mistakes on the field. Somebody that's going to make sure any momentum you have stops in its tracks. That's Kevin King. Perfect brake man.
Good point.
I don't disagree.
I would kind of want the Smith brothers as my push crew because I feel like they're really in sync with each other, and I feel like when they would take off pushing the bobsled, they would be on the same foot and everything and jump in at the exact same time.
Yeah, where my mind went were just the easy answers. I had the Smiths doing the pushing, at Aaron Rodgers steering it, and LaFleur, as we all know, is good at putting the brakes on shit. He's good. Hey, let's kick the field goal, Aaron. Let's just take all power away from you. I know you're steering, but let's halt the ship right now. I think he's a perfect brake guy.
But he's all gas, no brakes, Zach. So that's obviously not him.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
All gas, some brake.
I
There we
choose AJ Dillon as my brake man because if the brake breaks, he could just use his legs to stop it.
I don't think that's how ice works, but
Never know.
He'd be there with his legs trying to push it back.
If he did have to hop in, he could just sit on the ice and just push it with his legs like that, like a leg press.
For those of you listening and not watching, you may have just missed one of the better visuals of Lombardi Sweep of
True.
Luke doing what I can only imagine was stopping a bobsled and giving birth. I don't know, but it was a fun time.
The crossover event of the century.
Do we have anything else for players, games, events? Is there a player we need to try to fit somewhere? I didn't have AJ or Aaron Jones anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys?
I did not know.
There's another guy we need to find a fit for as well, Isaiah McDuffie, because he's too short to play linebacker. So where is he going to play? So we don't know where he's going to play in the Olympics either.
I think that's his perfect role.
All gymnasts and boxers are real tiny. They're short.
I did have one more as well. Is we got to fit Darnell Savage in there because you can't have a last name like Savage and not put him in the Olympics.
True.
I think that would have been perfect if, like Zach, you had mentioned before, MMA.
Savage is a good fighter last name. He can do karate.
Yeah.
Why not?
I think it's a good skateboarding name.
True.
You know,
That's a good one too.
he got some good names in skateboarding, so I think he fits in.
And he can come
Do
up
we
with
need
his
like
own trick and call it Savage.
good? I'm so jacked for skateboarding. It's gonna be
Savage.
so good.
Savage is a good battle rap name as well. If that was an Olympic sport.
Might as well be. I pitched on the Monday show that magic should be a summer Olympic sport. So
Ooh, that'd be
might as well do that. That's what I'm saying. Like we could send Chris Angel in there, just
Right.
floating over everybody.
that would be insane.
Magic.
Speaking of skateboarding, though, can we talk about why Nigel Houston has been around for like 30 years, but he's somehow only 26? How does
Right.
that work?
It's the same thing as Chief Keef.
Same thing, sure.
Chief Keef's been around since I was in elementary school, and the dude's only 24.
Yeah.
I don't think we
Lombardi
mentioned
Sweep.
Rashawn Gary. I see him like a shot put or something.
That's fair.
But he'd be a good wrestler too, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones is a good runner.
Let's put him on the trampoline. That's who I want. Let Rashawn Gary jump. Make that a trending trend on Twitter. Let Gary jump.
Aaron Jones has strong legs. He's also got a strong upper body, as seen by the stiff arm. What utilizes both those? The javelin. He can stop on a dime, too. I'm sure he can let it fly. And his hair is something to behold.
Let's just hope that he doesn't fall into the trap that Emmanuel Acho talked about when that sprinter, tested positive, sprinter, she tested positive for pot, so she can't go to the Olympics. Like running's one thing. Acho talked about what if she was a javelin thrower? She could have thrown a javelin through somebody's heart. So we got to make sure AJ Dillon's clean.
Because we have people right next to the that is how it works. Emmanuel Acho
He's
is
a genius.
He's something.
It's a performance enhancement drug, so I don't know if you guys knew that.
Emmanuel Acho talks a lot for a glorified guy that your school brings in for a seminar that nobody pays attention to about the dangers of drugs.
Yeah.
He's just a glorified that. So it's funny he's got a platform, but
he comes out to 90s rap and he has a rap about staying away from drugs.
Yeah, he talks about like, oh, you know what's really boss, guys? Not doing drugs. And all the kids just throw food at him.
He comes out to like Will Smith non-explicit rap.
Yeah. He has his own version of Get Jiggy With It, but it's about saying no to pot.
He also definitely has parachute pants while doing the what's it called? You know what I mean, with Vanilla Ice, whatever it is. Can't touch this dance. He's got that down.
True.
Kind of going off topic. I know this whole show has kind of been off topic, but did you guys hear about that Ugandan weightlifter?
Yeah, he defected, or he tried to.
Yeah, how he got to Japan the day he was there. He left a note saying he went missing. He left a note saying, "I'm all fine. I just want to start a new life in Japan."
Yeah, he didn't want to go back home because he hated it there. And
Yeah.
they found him at a train station, which is hilarious because the team had his passport. So,
Right.
And also, I'm sorry, I'm going to stereotype here. A Ugandan in Japan. That might be the easiest thing to find
Stuck out.
Yeah. Especially a weightlifter. Bro, this dude's jacked. Like,
looking like Godzilla out there.
Yeah. How does it work?
I could see Blake Bortles and Kurt Benkert being on an acid trip and ending up like that.
I think they do it sober. So yeah, on an acid trip also. Yeah.
Hey, if there's nothing else, I got a shout out for the episode.
Go for it. I don't think we're gonna place Aaron Jones. He's fine. He can play football. How about that?
I mean, let's not act like I said javelin. That's okay.
Yeah, but with that, yeah.
Lombardi sweep, where we just completely gloss over what Trevor says. I'm used to it. The shout out, we talked about it before. It has nothing to do with anything we've talked about. So really, if anything, it's on brand. If you have not tried it yet, go to Quick Trip, try some chicken. It will not disappoint. Quick Trip, if you're listening, I know you have a great social media team. Sponsor us. If you do not think I would get a tattoo for one sponsor, you are wrong. It's like a 50-50 chance it would happen. So if you want to see which side the coin will fall on, sponsor us, and we will see.
I got a good story about Quick Trip Chicken. So driving up to our cottage in Michigan, and I stopped for a week. I was gonna stay up there for a week. Stopped at Quick Trip on the way and got the big 8-piece of the chicken tenders. I'm like, all right, this should be fine. I had one on the way up, and then I went to put it in the refrigerator when I got up there, and it was filled with beer, so it couldn't fit in the refrigerator. So I left it out for the whole week. Did not change the taste once. It was incredible. It's still incredible chicken.
Look, we're trying to get a sponsorship here.
It is for chicken.
That is not good for chicken. That's not crazy. Like you
I'm
think.
serious. It was great.
Okay. Luke was probably as drunk as he probably saw 3 Shamar John Charles around him when this happened. Also, that is a horrible. Luke's like, hey, leave it out for a week. It tastes the same. That is not. We are never going to get a single sponsorship like that.
It doesn't go bad, is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't go
That's
bad.
not good. That is not good.
Okay.
Once it's going to be like
You guys are the one knocking at the sponsorship. I'm trying to vouch for it.
Next time
I'm back on
sponsorships come up, we're kicking you out. I'm sorry. It's
Also, where it was pretty cool downstairs, so it was kind of like a refrigerator.
Why
There
did
we
you
go.
buy 8 pieces of chicken and then not touch it for a week? I think that's a better question.
So the thing is, when I go up north, I don't eat a lot because I have other things going on. So I try to eat periodically throughout the day when I'm back, and just didn't get to it. I noticed that like on the 6th day, I'm like, well, shit, I still got 3 pieces of chicken left.
Quick Trip, if you like
where
what
the
you
chicken
hear,
lasts forever.
It does. It's pretty damn good too. After the 7th day.
Look, I don't care what anybody says. I'm tagging them. I know they're going to see it. They've tweeted at me before saying they love me. Arguably highlight of my life. Quick Trip.
Literally let it turn
Look.
into like chicken jerky.
That's the best kind.
that's another product idea for you, Quick Trip. Also, chicken jerky. That could be next.
We do want our names on it, Flurry Sports. You could sell it. We won't take a cut. We just want like from the brains of Flurry Sports. That's all we want.
I want Luke on the front of it with a little like speech bubble and just be like, leave it out. It won't change the taste.
We want to sell it. We
Still
want to
great
sell
after
it.
7
I don't know
days.
if Luke on the
Tastes
front
great
is the
after
best.
7 days of being out.
I think that's where we have to end the episode the way it's going.
Quick
Yeah,
Trip chicken
let's end this.
and grapefruit high noon. Great combination.
Quick Trip, if you enjoyed what you listened, if you heard here today, what you listened, sure, that works too. Sponsor us. Slide into my DMs. We've talked before already once. You said maybe. If this convinced you, by all means, come on board. The water is fine. Come on in. But yeah, we'll be back next week with training camp news, with Olympic news. Probably not Olympic news. It's not this podcast. But yeah, Packer news next week. Goodbye.